Hi, hello, how are you? Good afternoon. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm not doing anything today because my stupid husband works a stupid night shift, so I'm not doing anything for stupid Valentine's Day. I'm just staying home. It's not even like it's too big of a holiday for me to be like, I'll take myself to dinner. Everywhere is going to be packed, and I honestly don't want to deal with that. So I'm staying home. We are celebrating on Saturday, I had planned, which was just to go to this bar downtown and watch the hockey game because his favorite team, the Ducks, and my favorite team, the Maple Leafs, which is just a team I picked to mess with him. They're playing against each other Saturday, so we're gonna go. It's like one of our favorite restaurants, have dinner and watch the hockey game. But beforehand, for like Valentine's Day, I guess, we're going bowling, which should be fun. I already broke my thumbnail and this nail, so I should be able to bowl perfectly fine without breaking them. And I'm looking forward to it. After 8 years of being together, it's really hard to plan new dates. Like, we have done everything. Fancy dinner on like a top floor of a hotel. We've gone to the beach. We've gone to Disneyland. We've gone up to the mountains. We have done everything between 8 years worth of birthdays, Valentine's Days, and anniversaries. So I was like, let's just keep it simple this year. But I guess I'm maybe going to get a lot of reading done today. I haven't decided if I'm just going to spend all night reading or if I'm going to try to do other things. I did edit a vlog which went up today, so I probably won't start editing another one until like this weekend. But I did start House of Flame and Shadow. This is a big one. I am only 100 pages in. If I wanted to have caught up, I needed to be on 295, which was just not going to happen. If I spent all night tonight reading, I definitely could, but I'm also working on crochet projects. I uploaded the book sleeves to my Etsy. I need to make like 2 other sizes for paperback books, like a thin paperback and a thicker one. But I'm working on that. I also need to catch up on my temperature blanket and keep working on the sweater I'm working on. So I'm not sure what the plan is for after work, but I read 100 pages. Spoilers if you have not read this book, skip probably to the end of this vlog or just don't watch this vlog. I've been trying to put, with the vlog that I just put up, I put spoilers in the title because when I talk about books, I like to talk about everything and I'm not good at being vague and I just give away too much detail. But I'm loving this because we are getting the crossover. And it's with Bryce and Nesta. So we start with Bryce in Valeris. They take her down to like the dungeons below the castle. I think she's in the Hewn City, that's what it is. They put her there, they're asking her questions. She's telling them like a edited version of how she got there, who her people are and stuff, because she doesn't know them. And Asriel can tell that she's lying and he calls her out for it. And it makes Rhys really mad. He's like, tell the truth. And she's holding back because the tattoo on her back, the horn, can open gates to other worlds. And she is just like, I don't fucking know you guys. I don't know if you are going to be just as bad as the Asteri. And she is telling Amren about the Asteri. And Rhys is like, none of that is in our history. I don't know what you're talking about. And Amren's like, and he's like, is it in our history? And she's like, yeah, but it's like 15,000 years old. There was like this race that was here, the Doglon, and when she calls them that, Bryce like stiffens. And she's like, we were able to like band together and push them out. She recognizes when Bryce says that Princess Thea and Prince Peleus were the ones who like migrated from Valeris to Midgard. Like, all of this stuff is adding up, but they don't trust her. She doesn't trust them. That makes sense. And they leave her there. And she's like, where is my sword? And Asriel is like, well, it's safe, but you got to give us a reason to give it back to you. So they leave. I think it might have been like a few hours at least. And she pulls up this grate in the floor. And she goes into it. There are these like crazy lizard monsters inside of it. But she's like, I have to get out. And so she goes, and the light in her chest starts glowing, and it's like the monsters just bow down to her. She drops onto this rock, and everywhere below it is covered with sobex. And she is able to just shine her light and walk right through them. And she gets through this gate, and she's just walking and walking and walking, and she has to take a break. She falls asleep, she wakes up, and Nesta is there. And they fight like a, oh, what is it called? The worm that Feyre fights in the second book. They fight that together, or they don't fight it, but it's like in this deep cavern where they're like crossing this bridge, and it makes all this noise, and it causes like a collapse of rocks, and so they can't go back the way that they came back to like the hole for the dungeon. They have to keep going forward, and Nesta is like, I'm along for the ride, let's see what's happening. And I am here for it, but I knew that this was going to happen. Is that I only care about what's happening in Velaris. I don't want to read about what's going on with Tharian and Ithan and all of them. I don't care. They rescued the Alpha. They went to see Tharian. They're trying to free him from the Viper Queen. They need to go into the water and find a way to get to the Eternal City to rescue Rune, Baxian, and Hunt. They don't really care about Baxian. They don't know that he's on their team, but definitely Rune and Hunt, and figure out what happened to Bryce. Sabine shows up. She wants to kill the Alpha that they rescued. It's like her niece. She killed her brother and the sister and the like daughter, and so she thought that there was no challenge to her being Prime Apparent and potentially Prime in the future. So she wants to kill them. Declan shoots her in the head, which isn't enough to kill her. She's gonna come back for sure. But I just don't care about that. I just want more Bryce and Nesta and the Velaris gang. So that's gonna be potentially an issue for me going forward, is me just not having any motivation in getting through those chapters. She does a good job. Each chapter has like a smattering of both perspectives. But I just crave more of what's going on in Velaris. So I have a meeting in a few minutes. I'm gonna go, and I will update you when I have made some progress in this. I'm so looking forward to it. Hello, happy Sunday. I am feeling so awful. I don't even know why I decided that I was going to film. I am having like an outbreak of blisters in my mouth, and they hurt so bad. This was such a mistake, but I'm reading. I'm also on my period. That's a whole nother thing. I'm like officially off birth control for the first time in like 10 years. So the next couple of weeks are going to be rough, but I'm reading House of Flame and Shadow. I was supposed to have finished this yesterday, but I didn't read. I did a little bit of reading like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but it was just a little bit before Skylar got up and we had like things to do this weekend. Ugh. But I'm reading now. It's like 10:30. I'm off tomorrow, so I'm gonna keep hopefully reading tomorrow. I just don't want to rush myself because this is a new book. Like, I was fine rushing myself through the first 2 books, but this is my first time and I just want to enjoy it, so I'm not gonna push myself too much. But if I can finish it tomorrow, that would be great. I'm a little over halfway through and I'm really enjoying it. And again, spoilers, skip this video honestly if you haven't read this book. Tharian and Sadia just got married. They're in their room together and I am already so in love with them. A marriage of convenience is one of my favorite tropes. Not one of my favorite ones, but it's one that I really enjoy that I don't read a ton of. And I'm really looking forward to their relationship. Bryce is back. I was really thinking we weren't going to get to see her until the end of the book, and that we were going to get more of Bryce in Velaris, but that didn't happen. We just got like a ton of info dumping about the old Fae, and the Asteri, and then she jumped back, which is a little disappointing that we only got a few chapters of the merging of worlds. We might get more, but it's just really not what I was personally hoping for. I heard that there's going to be an Avatar 5, and I'm hoping it's set maybe after Bryce was there. And we get some more information, or like more of their perspective, like Bryce's and Farah's, Amaran's, everybody, after like Bryce drops this bomb on them about like being from her world or being from their world, and just revealing all of this stuff to them that they didn't even really know, that Amaran knew a little bit of, but that was so long ago. So but I just, Tharian and Sadia got married, and I was like, oh, I need to vlog and update. So I will update you when I have finished this, because I literally cannot stand to talk anymore. My mouth hurts so bad. Bye. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I have a headache behind this eye, and I just opened up the curtain in front of me, and it is like blaring in my face. It's definitely a migraine. It started last night, and I took something, and it took about an hour and a half to ease up enough for me to go to sleep. And I woke up this morning and it was just blaring. And usually if it's this bad, I will like drink a soda, but it's 10 in the morning and I just don't want soda right now. So I've been trying to like chug water. I'm also on my period. This week has just been super rough, but I finished House of Flame and Shadow last night. It was really good. I gave it a 5 stars. I've said this before, 5 stars is a feeling for me, regardless of like the writing, the plot, characters, things like that. It's just a feeling, and I really enjoyed it. I like logged it on GOODREADS, and there was a ton of reviews, and I was reading a couple of them, and I do definitely agree with some of the points. But it still felt like a 5 stars to me. I will say that in the chapters that we have with Nesta, Azriel, and Bryce, which was not a trio I knew I needed, but loved, and I do wish that when Bryce had returned Truth Teller to Valeris, that Azriel had been there to receive it. She just gave it to Nesta and Cassian. It was nice to see Cassian. But I wish that she'd been able to give it to Azriel personally, since she stole it from him. But the chapters with the 3 of them felt really rushed. There was just so much information that was thrown at us about where the Asteri come from, and like where Bryce's magic comes from, how to use the swords and stuff like that. It was just a lot in just a few chapters. That was like my least favorite part, but I really enjoyed the book. I'm glad that Ithan is finally Prime. I really do think that he can do some really great things for them. I'm getting a little bit of like, not tension, but just hint of sweetness between him and Perry, which I love. I think that that's great. He definitely needs somebody that's not Bryce. Obviously, she's with somebody else. I'm glad that Rune and Lydia are happy. Her having children was such a like shock, and it makes sense that that's why she turned. I thought that she was way older than she really is, like old like Hunt, but she's not. They don't say how old she is, but she turned 15 years prior to when this was set, when she had her kids. And I just really liked her storyline and her being like powerful. It seems like all of the women in this book, they just have, unfortunately, these powers that they have to keep hidden in order to prevent the men who run this world from using them as weapons or bargaining chips for breeding, stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it. My eye hurts so bad that I'm having trouble like concentrating on what to say. I was not expecting Jezebel to sacrifice herself. I loved the line that they were like, oh wow, we didn't know you really cared about her. And she's like, of course I do. Do you know how hard it is to find a good assistant? Like, she really cared for Bryce. I never understood why she was like mean but always willing to do all of this stuff for Bryce. Like, she made it seem like she would never do that stuff, but if Bryce asked her, she did. And then when it finally gets revealed that she's a priestess, it's like, oh, okay, obviously she's doing all this stuff because she wants to help Bryce take down the Asteri in whatever way that she has to. And I was really happy for her that she got like the peace that she deserved in the end. She saw the Asteri defeated and immediately was like, I am done with this life. I give it to Bryce. And Bryce getting to see the pack of devils, Connor, Danica at the end was really sweet. Ithan getting to see Connor, I loved that scene, and Connor and everybody else in Crescent City sacrificing their first light to put into that bullet to destroy the Asteri. I wasn't really sure how that was going to play out. It was only one bullet, but she used it to destroy the like first light core, and it opens up this huge like black hole, and she opens up another black hole and sucks it into that, and then she gets sucked in, and there's these like mech suits that are controlled by the souls of the fallen, the angels that Hunt fought with 200 years before. Bryce was able to put their souls into the suits, and that was like a really sweet and special moment for Hunt and Isaiah and Naomi. All of the people that they'd fought with 200 years ago were like risen and put into these suits, and they got to fight and finish the war that they had started 200 years ago under Sahar. And Hunt like kneeling before them and telling them like, we did it, we finally finished this war. And Sahara being in one of those uniforms or the suits and helping him get to Bryce was just very sweet. I loved the last 100 pages of just everything like fitting together so nicely. It was really, really good. So I finished that. I'm going to read, where did it go? Beast Boy Loves Raven next. There's one more after this, and then I think a fourth one is coming out. This is by Cami Garcia, and then the designs are by Gabriel Piccolo. I really loved like Raven and Beast Boy. There's two separate ones, and then they have Beast Boy Loves Raven. And I love the like art style. Skylar and I dressed up as these versions for Halloween a couple years ago, which was really fun. So I'm going to read this most likely during lunch. Next, I'm going to read A Curse for True Love. It's only 381 pages. I was technically supposed to finish this yesterday. Obviously that's not going to happen. I'm going to try to read half of it today and half of it tomorrow. I still have 5 books to read for this month, one of them being the graphic novel, so I know I'll get to go through that tonight. And hopefully I can read a good chunk of A Curse for True Love. I have an audiobook on Scribed, which is now Everend, I guess, but I keep calling it Scribed. And it says it's only 9 hours, and I listen to it at 2 speed, so I'm thinking tonight I can get through a good chunk while I'm knitting before I go to sleep. And maybe catch up, but again, I don't want to force myself. If I don't finish, as long as I finish 5 books at some point, then I will allow myself to buy. I think I'm going to get Defiant next. I'm really excited about that finishing. I think it's finishing the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson. I have really enjoyed that, and our main character is finally back on her home planet, and I'm just ready to see them take down this like intergalactic force that they've been fighting against for years. So my eye is killing me. I'm going to go sit in the living room where it's a little bit darker and work, and I will update you guys probably tomorrow. Hello, happy Sunday. I am so tired. This is a little TMI, but I just finished taking birth control like officially. I haven't been off in 8 years, and I've been taking it for like 10 years total. So this period that I'm like just finishing up has been really rough, and I have been so exhausted recently. But I've gotten some reading done, so I did finish, or I started and finished Beast Boy Loves Raven by Cami Garcia. The art is done by Gabriel Piccolo. I love this art style so much. And this was really good. It was super quick read, like 30 minutes, just sitting on the couch. In this one, Beast Boy and Raven meet Beast Boy goes by Gar, and Raven is also obviously Raven. And they are both in New Orleans to meet Nashville. They're in Nashville to meet this guy named Slade, who says that he's going to help Beast Boy be able to control his powers, and Raven also figure out what to do about her dad, who is a demon and trapped in the necklace around her. It turns out to be like a scam. He's not really helping them. He's trying to help capture them for, I'm thinking it's like a government agency that's trying to turn them into weapons. So before that happens, they kind of bump into each other. Raven has a foster sister who is following her around. She doesn't want Raven to know she's there, but she wants to be able to protect Raven. And they get captured. Well, they like bump into each other. It's a real like meet cute sort of thing. Somebody steals Raven's wallet, and so Beast Boy obviously offers to let her stay with him at his hotel. They both don't know that they're meeting this guy Slade, or that the other is meeting this guy Slade. And they get kidnapped. Robin sees it. He is also supposed to be meeting Slade around the same time that they are, but he's on a rooftop. He's very suspicious. His name is Robin Wayne, so I'm thinking he's supposed to be like Bruce Wayne's younger brother. There's like a picture of him at the end with a taller kid whose name is Bruce. So he is Bruce Wayne's younger brother in this world. He sees them get kidnapped and sees Raven's stepsister is like following them. She's also talking to the dead, trying to get instructions on where they're going. She's not like a necromancer, but like somebody who can talk to the dead. She tries to raise them. She does. She is a necromancer essentially. But they go and bust them out of this facility and they take off, and that's just kind of where it ends. They're trying to figure out why this facility or this organization wants them as weapons. So I gave it a 3 stars. For me, 3 is good. 3 is good, 4 is really great, 5 is amazing. So it was good, but it's just a comic book. There's not like a ton of detail or plot, so I really don't feel like it should be anything higher. And then I read A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. I really loved this. It was super cute. I basically read the entire thing yesterday. I read about 60 pages on the 22nd, and then I read the rest of it yesterday, 327 pages I think it was. I went to Starbucks and I was listening to the book on 2.5 speed. The font is just really large and there's a lot of spacing, so I was able to get through a good chunk of it really quickly. When I got home, Skylar was working on like a woodworking project. He wanted to build a little like shelf to go behind our couch that had these like pocket holes for all of our cords and stuff to come out of, so that they're not all like tangled up all the time. He was working on that outside, so I was like, well, something really intense had just happened in this between Jackson and Evangeline. So I was like, while you're doing that, I'm just going to keep reading. I stopped with like 30 pages left to go because he was done and he was like, okay, let's go to dinner. And we had an Olive Garden gift card, so we went. And then I came home and I was trying to finish the last 30 pages and he just kept asking me to help him with stuff. And I was like, please let me finish the end of this book. Good God, you're driving me crazy. But it was really good. I gave it a 4 stars. This is the conclusion to Once Upon a Broken Heart. It was 5 stars because the end is a little lackluster for me. We really only they don't get together until like those last 30 pages. And I always feel like I want to see more of them. So there's not going to be a 4th book. This is the conclusion. And that's just kind of frustrating when you spend 3 books watching them fight their feelings and fight to get to each other, only for them to only end up being together in the last like 5 pages. And it's just like, and then they lived happily ever after. I still did really enjoy it. In this one, Evangeline has had her memories erased by Apollo. She does not remember Jax. She thinks, Apollo's not lying about everything, but he does tell her that like Jax is the one that took her memories. Jax is the one that killed him, which is kind of true. He did that in order to, or he like preserved him in a sleep state or whatever in order to get Evangeline to recognize her potential as a key and open the Valerie arches. But it's just Apollo being a super obsessive creep this entire time, trying to like keep Evangeline in the castle, not let her go anywhere, and prevent her from getting her memories back. There's like physicians that come see her every day, and she realizes, oh, it's because like you don't want me to remember that you're actually also a jerk, and I love Jax. And they do get together in the end. I just really wish that we'd gotten more of the two of them. So 4 out of 5 stars. And then today I'm going to start Seasons of the Storm by El Cosimano. I've read a couple of books by her. This is maybe like my third one. This is the second to Seasons of the Storm. It's about like a world where there are like elemental people for all of the seasons: summer, winter, spring, autumn. And I know in the last one we had 2 people fall in love who were from different seasons, and that's not supposed to happen, and it caused this like big uproar and stuff, and I don't remember a ton, so I might have to just like look up the book and maybe some reviews on the old one on the last one, and then dive into this. But this is what I'm planning on reading. I was supposed to finish this yesterday according to like my timeline, but that's just not going to happen. Or it's impossible to happen, but hopefully I can get through a good chunk of this today, maybe finish it tomorrow. I have an audiobook. It is a tiny bit bigger than A Curse for True Love, and the font is smaller, so I don't think I'll be able to get through it in one day, but I think I'll be able to make good progress, so I will update you when I have. Good morning, happy Monday. I am sleepy but feeling awake. I've been trying to get up a little bit earlier. I start work at 7:30, and for the last like year and a half my alarm to wake up has been going off at 7:29, which isn't the best. When I first started working from home, I was still getting up at like 6:30, and it's just slowly gotten later and later and later. And then some of my coworkers were like, oh yeah, I do the same thing. And so I was like, 7:29 it is. But I really hate like jumping up and immediately being on the clock. I mean, I definitely don't start working until like 7:45, 7:50 because I'm going to the bathroom, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm getting dressed, things like that. But it's like I'm sitting down and immediately starting to work, and I would just like to have a little bit of a buffer between those two things. So I'm getting up slightly early, like 5 minutes every week. Last week I got up at 7:25. This week I'm trying to get up at 7:20. Just to have like, my hope is to have like 5 minutes at least in between getting ready, sitting down on the couch, and clocking in, just so I have a few minutes to sit down and check my emails on my personal emails, go on Instagram, whatever, and then start work. That's what I'm trying this week. But I wanted to update you guys. I am reading Seasons of Chaos. I mentioned that yesterday, and I'm 192 pages in. I'm using a Band-Aid as a bookmark right now. I had one in here and I don't know what I did with it. Actually, I think when I finished A Curse for True Love, I didn't put it back in. It was probably this one. So I just had like a Band-Aid next to me that was unused, and I stuck it in here. But it is interesting. It's kind of slow. It's supposed to be fantasy, but it's not as heavy of a fantasy as A Curse for True Love or any of the Crescent City books. In this one, this is the second book, so they've like disestablished, taken down the way that their system works, that seasons were not allowed to be around other seasons. If you were winter, you couldn't be around an autumn. And it was like a control for their magic. The guy, Michael, who used to be considered Kronos, like their leader, didn't want them to realize that in meeting up with a season that is opposite of you, they could recharge you. He wanted them to have to be killed. That's what they do. They're killed on a ley line, and their soul comes back to this observatory where they all live in separate areas, all the autumns, the winters, springs, summers, in their own little sectors. So they get sucked back through the ley lines. They get put in these like stasis machines that help regenerate them. And then they live there until it is time for them to go out. If you're in autumn, you go out and you kill the summer season in your area, and then you take over that area for your like 3 months of time. And that was so he could kind of control them and be the most powerful person. And they realize that they don't need to go into stasis. They can stay out. They don't need to be murdered and murder other people constantly. So they overthrow their government. And in this one, it's like post that, one of the guys who was a big supporter of Michael, who was killed and replaced as Kronos by this guy Daniel Lyon. He is killed. Daniel Lyon is killed by Douglas, and Douglas is now the new Kronos. He also takes Gaia's magic. She's, you know, the mother of nature, and he is unable to control her magic though. So he steals or kidnaps one of these girls, Fleur, who was the love interest from the first book, and he's like, you're going to teach me how to use this magic because she is a spring. So she is very familiar with this particular type of earth magic. That's where I kind of left off. I'm 192 pages in, like I said. I was listening to it while I was like cooking dinner and cleaning and stuff. But right now it's like a 3 for me. Nothing has really... There is like a little bit here and there that kind of keeps me interested, but nothing super. I'm kind of just finishing this to finish this. But I'm going to try to finish it today. Hopefully move on to One for My Enemy. I'm supposed to have 3 days to finish that and 2 days to finish Blackout, but there are only... After today, there's only 3 days left in the month, so I might have to do like 2 days for One for My Enemy, and 1 day for Blackout. It just kind of depends. I'm really hoping to finish all of these books in this month, but if I don't, then I don't. But I'm going to end this here, so thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know how your February has been. This has been a pretty good month for me, other than stopping birth control and being just super emotional the last like week and a half. But I'm starting to feel better, and that's good, and I'm really proud of the reading progress that I've made. Oh my god, I want to read ACOTAR so bad. It's not 3 books anymore though, it's 5 books, if you include A Court of Frost and Starlight. I think it's just supposed to be considered a novella, but I just want to reread that so bad. I have been seeing stuff on TikTok so much, especially, this isn't ACOTAR related, but the like audio that says Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbarn Fae. I have just been seeing a ton of that, and then just people who are getting into this series and reading it, and it is making me want to read it so bad. But it would just make it really hard to reread those and still read 5 unread books on my shelves next month. But they are calling to me. I want to reread them so bad. But I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!